Okay, have you ever just been hit by that sudden, overwhelming wave of fear? Completely out of the blue.
Hmm.
That feeling where your heart is pounding, you can't catch your breath, your mind's racing, but there's nothing actually dangerous happening.
Yeah, it's incredibly unsettling.
It really is. And you're definitely not alone if you've felt that. So today, we're understanding panic and maybe finding ways to master it, helping you get back some calm, some control.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is that these intense feelings, um, as awful as they feel, they actually come from your body's own protective system.
Ah, the fight or flight reflex.
Exactly. It's this incredible, built-in response, hardwired purely for survival. It gets you ready to either fight off a threat or, well, run away from it.
And when that system kicks in, your body goes through some pretty dramatic changes, right?
Absolutely.
Like your brain gets super focused, looking for danger, your breathing quickens up, which, strangely, can make you feel lightheaded or dizzy sometimes.
Right. Because you're taking in more oxygen faster than usual. Your heart starts racing, blood pressure goes up, you might start sweating, muscles get really tense.
Even dry mouth, I've heard that one.
Yeah, and digestion slows right down. All because your body's diverting resources, sending blood to your limbs, getting you ready for action.
Which is vital if, you were actually facing a bear or something.
Precisely. But here's the paradox in our modern lives. This really powerful automatic system. It can get triggered by mistake.
When there's no bear.
Exactly. No actual physical danger. Maybe it's stress, or sometimes even just a stray thought. And that misfire leads to those really uncomfortable feelings of anxiety or even, a full-blown panic attack.
And a huge piece of this puzzle is how our brain interprets those signals, isn't it?
Definitely.
You feel your heart pounding and you think, oh no, heart attack. Or you feel dizzy and you're convinced you're going to faint.
Right. Your brain is wired for rapid threat detection. It's an old system, so it latches onto the worst-case scenario.
And that catastrophic thinking just makes the symptoms feel even worse. It creates a kind of loop.
It's a really tricky, self-perpetuating cycle. So just understanding that your body is trying to protect you, even if it's got the wrong signal, that's a huge first step, a really powerful one.
Okay, so knowing what's happening physically is step one. It's not dangerous, just uncomfortable.
Intensely uncomfortable, yeah,
Yeah.
but not harmful. Then the next step involves really looking at your thoughts.
Those what-if spirals.
Exactly. What if I lose control? What if everyone sees those thoughts? They're like adding fuel to the fire.
So you need to catch them.
You need to learn to identify them and then challenge them. Question if they're realistic. Is there actual evidence for that fear? Find more balanced ways of looking at it.
Okay, so challenging the thoughts is key. But what about the situations themselves? People often start avoiding places where they've had panic, right?
That's a really common response. And it leads us to another crucial strategy, graded exposure.
So instead of
Right. Because avoiding just tells your brain, yep, that situation is dangerous. Graded exposure means you gently, systematically, step by step, re-engage with those feared situations.
starting small.
Yeah, maybe just imagining it first.
Yeah.
Then maybe going for a short time. You slowly build up, teaching your brain through direct experience that these places, these situations are actually safe. You're desensitizing that panic response.
Okay, that makes sense. And connecting that back to the physical feelings, what about when you're actually in the wave of panic? How do you stop fighting it?
That connects to learning how to ride the wave of panic.
Ride the wave. Okay.
It means instead of tensing up and fighting those sensations, the racing heart, the breathlessness, you try to just observe them.
Like a detached observer.
Sort of. You acknowledge they're there. You allow them to happen, trusting that they will peak and then they will naturally subside on their own.
That sounds hard, but powerful.
It takes practice. But doing it teaches you firsthand that these symptoms, however awful they feel, aren't going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And they will pass. Which actually brings up an interesting point. How can modern tools help with all this?
Yeah, the tech side is really evolving, isn't it? Like digital cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT programs right on your phone.
Exactly. These aren't just simple apps. They guide you through structured exercises, helping you spot those unhelpful thought patterns, challenge them, reframe them, makes therapy much more accessible.
Right, on demand.
And we're also seeing things like AI chatbots, virtual assistants like that Calmbot idea. They can offer immediate support, maybe guide you through grieving, help pinpoint triggers, or even challenge a negative thought spiral right when it's happening.
Wow. And what about virtual reality? For the exposure part.
Yeah, VR is amazing for exposure therapy. You can face feared situations like heights or crowds in a completely safe, controlled digital space, it literally helps your brain rewire itself by giving real-time feedback that disrupts that automatic fear loop.
That's incredible. And for tuning into the body itself, wearable tech.
hmm Wearables with biofeedback are revolutionary. They track things like your heart rate, maybe skin temperature, in real time.
And show it to you.
Yeah, they show you the data. So you can consciously practice techniques like specific breathing patterns and actually see how they bring those physical stress indicators down.
Mm,
It gives you this tangible sense of control over your own physiology.
it really does sound like it's all about empowerment, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Okay, so let's recap the core ideas from this deep dive. First, understand those fight or flight signals are your body's protection system, even if misfiring. They aren't dangerous.
Right. Then, actively challenge those unrealistic catastrophic thoughts that fuel the panic.
And gradually reduce avoidance using graded exposure, step by step.
hmm And learn to ride the wave, observe the sensations without fighting, trusting they will pass.
The big takeaway really is panic feels awful, intensely unpleasant, yes. But the symptoms themselves, not dangerous, not harmful, they will pass naturally.
And just remember, managing panic isn't like flipping a switch. It's a journey. It takes consistent practice. Be kind to yourself through the process.
Yeah.
And know that support is there, whether it's professional help or these evolving tech tools we talked about.
You really do have the tools within you and accessible around you to build a life with more calm, more control. So maybe the next time that wave starts to build, ask yourself, can you just watch it this time? With curiosity, maybe, instead of fighting it with fear.
And please remember, the opinions expressed here are just for informational purposes.
That's right. They are definitely not a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment.
Always seek the guidance of a qualified healthcare provider for any health concerns you might have.